Hello, hello. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, and I want to welcome you to another amazing edition of the Heartline podcast with Adelai Brown. I am so thankful for you being here today. I'm so thankful that you choose to tune in every Monday at noon or whenever it is that you see us going live. Trust me, it is not lost on us and it does not go unrecognized. The support that you all are offering, it is really having an impact on the heart connections and the heart equity movement. So I wanted to get going today. I'm so excited about today's pod. The title of today's pod is Identity Theft. Identity theft, the biggest crime you commit daily without breaking any laws. Yes, you've been committing some crimes every day with this identity theft, and we're going to address it. There are a lot of exciting things going on with Heart Connections as we build heart equity. And for those of you, if this is your first time tuning in, the Heartline podcast is a space where individuals from all over the universe come together to build heart equity. What is heart equity, you may ask? Heart equity is when we create and generate and build personal, relational, and financial wealth through authentic living. We are living in a world that is getting faster and faster, but it's also getting tougher and tougher to show up as your authentic self when you have so much pressure to continue to produce, show up, show up, move faster, get with this new thing. This no longer like this, go this way. How do you stay grounded? How do you keep yourself together when it feels like everything is falling apart or everything is going haywire? That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about ways that I want to support you and your mission and what you're doing in your life. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Identity theft. Your identity is what you believe about yourself and how you believe these things about yourself and what and it impacts how you show up in the earth, right? And one of the things that I realized being a heart coach, doing the work for all of these years, we're celebrating 9 years of Heart Talk as of September the 1st. And one of the things that I realized is the only way that I can continue to be the heart coach, the only way that I can continue to be an entrepreneur and open multiple businesses and still be able to maintain my family, literally living the life of my dreams, like going on vacations, traveling out of the country, doing things I never thought I could do because the old identity that I used to think about myself did not support the life that I'm living now. And these 9 years of doing Heart Talk and committing to building heart equity, committing to doing my work has opened me up to such a transformative life that my life does not look like it used to look before. So much so that I was looking at the interview I did with the 700 Club, and it really made me realize how far I have come. Like, I used to be so down, so depressed, so self conscious, so insecure. I mean, I grew up with a single mom. My father was not in my life. And then when he did come in my life, it was very shaky and unstable, and it didn't last for a long time as a young person, as an adolescent. And then we had a big fallout while I was pregnant with my daughter, me and my dad. And it caused me not to speak to him for 6 years. And from the age of like 17 to about 23, 24, I didn't communicate with my father. And I told myself I didn't need him. I told myself that I had made it this far without him and I don't need him now. And I'm telling you this because I was committing identity theft. When I said I didn't need my dad, when I would argue with my mom and fall out with her and just say how I'm all by myself and I got to figure it out and my parents don't love me, I was committing identity theft. That was not who I was, but that's who I thought I was. That's who I thought I had to be. That's what I thought I had to do at that particular time. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because You have a story that is running in your head right now, and that story is detrimental to your life presently, and it is already chipping away at your future. It is time for you to tell yourself something new. It is time for you to go about life differently. But how? How? There's an app for everything. Do you have an app to transform your life? Do you have an app to make you not feel those inadequacies, that doubt, that fear that you feel every time you think about doing that thing that you're excited about doing or that thing you dream of doing? Do you have something you could download or do to just take that away? No. One of the things that I realized, and you could listen to the experts. I remember listening to Tony Roberts talk about this one time. There was this other international leader in business and health, and she said straight up, we went through the industrial age. That was when my grandparents, when everybody was working in factories, and that was the big thing. Then we went through the technology age. That's the age we've been in for like the last 20 years. But like she said, now we're going into the heart age, the age of the heart. And the thing that's going to set you apart in life is not what your transcript, what your GPA is. That's not going to set you apart. Everybody is smart. It's not going to set you apart having money. Everybody got money. Or even if you don't have money, you're going to choose your heart. What's going to set you apart is the state of your heart. How can you handle trouble? How do you deal with opposition? What do you do when adversity comes your way? What are the thoughts you think? How do you mobilize yourself? And not just you, those around you. That's what's going to set you apart in this age. I realized when I started doing hard work, what I define as hard work is working on your mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. When you lock into those things, when you really lock in to being holistically whole and healthy in what you think about yourself and how you view the world around you, and being committed to this way of life. When I started doing my hard work, it became very evident to me that the way that we were raised, get the good grades so you can get the good job so you can have security, that was not the world I was going to be raising my children in. Another thing I noticed was, and I always noticed this even as a little girl, the other thing that I noticed was I always noticed how adults didn't have it together. I as a child could tell when people were unhappy, when people were sad, when people were not meeting their potential in life, and how that showed up in their relationships. I always was able to pick up on that. So when I started doing heart work and doing heart coaching, it started from sending the inspirational text messages to writing the book, my first book, Anchored, Be Blessed Daily, Volume 1. Trying to see if I have this is actually one of my drafts from my first book, and you see me writing in here. And let's see if they have a date. Did I put a date in here? Maybe I didn't. 12 4, let's see, 2015, right? There was a progression. And as I was going through this progression and doing the hard work, so I wrote the book. In the process of writing the book, I launched Heart Talk. All of this inspired by the Holy Spirit. All of this came from when I gave my life to Christ. And what was that, 2003, when I had that experience with Christ in my living room. If you have not heard about that, I encourage you to get your copy of Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again, because I share that testimony in that book, along with the 6-step process that transformed my lives and the thousands of others that I've had the benefit of being able to impact their lives in a positive way as well. As I went through this journey, it all came from wanting to get to know who God is, who Christ is, and wanting to know who I am in response to that. Because see, the problem is, and what happens a lot of times is we are going through life trying to fit in the mold of what everybody else is saying. And I get it. When you grow up as a child, you're depending on your parents, your family, those that are in your close-knit village, whatever that village looks like, you are gleaning from them for insight, for identity, for purpose, for support, for guidance. And there's nothing wrong with that. Shout out to all of our villages that got us to where we need to be. However, the truth of the matter is, if your parents and your village was not healthy emotionally, mentally, spiritually, if they did not have a healthy outlook on life, a healthy perspective on finances, a healthy perspective on relationships, a healthy perspective on God, then guess what? That impacted your identity, whether you believe it or not. It's a lot of things that you think you can't do or you think people like you don't do, and it's only because you have a case of mistaken identity. Now, that's not the crime that I'm talking about in the title. The crime is when you understand that you are operating in a mistaken identity and you continue to live like that. That's identity theft. That's identity fraud. And you're committing a crime, whether you breaking any laws or not. Now, I wanted to come on today because I know you're struggling. I know that on the outside, you look like you got it all together, but you are really struggling on the inside. Like, people don't realize how much you are at a breaking point, but I do. I do. I do. I can feel you. I can feel you. That's why I can't sleep the way I was sleeping until I get this work. Then I have to do these podcasts. I have to launch the Heart Equity Masters class, which is what we're talking about today. Why? Because I feel you. Because I know what you're going through. I know it's rough. I know it's tough. I know you've been having it hard. And I know that it's like people don't get you. People don't understand you. And then when you start to tell them how you feel, they don't want to hear it. They tell you get over it or just pray about it or everybody got a problem. Yeah, everybody does have problems. Yes, everybody goes through things, but God has ordained a specific path for you to live in and walk on. And when you trust him and you put him first, then you can, like David said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because thou art with me. Let me tell you, the most scary thing I've ever done in my life is be myself. Yeah, I got pregnant at 17. I was already living on my own. As terrifying as that was, nothing has been more scary than figuring out who I am and boldly standing in that realization, that awareness. And I know the benefits of it. And I'm just tapping the surface. I'm just getting started. I'm 10, 11, 15, 16 years in, and I promise you I'm just getting started. Yeah, Heart Talk been around for 9 years, but I started doing mini versions of Heart Talk and cell phone back in 2006. Like, I ain't new to this, I true to this. And the enemy really had me for a while. I thought he did. But he didn't. See, God had to incubate me. He had to incubate my heart. He had to incubate my perspective and get me on the level, to get me on the frequency of where he is and what he thinks about me, my true identity. I had to let go of consistently committing identity theft and identity fraud. And I want to help you do the same thing. So, why Heart Equity Masters class? Why Heart Equity Masterclass? Well, first of all, let's talk about this. A master's class. A master class is a class that is focused specifically on working with the individual or expert in a particular field that's taking a special group of people through this course, this class, to develop, to acutely develop skills and tools, to learn how to use tools and develop skills to see results in your life immediately. I know that the steps that we take work. Period. The end. And I have students that will be telling you about how when they implemented this heart work and they went through the heart incubator process and they started to commit to building heart equity, because that's what we do. You make the heart connection. You do the heart work. You build the heart equity. And I can tell you, I talk about how tumultuous my relationship was with my mom in this book. This doesn't scratch the surface of what we really went through, like the drama, the details. To be honest with you, I'm still doing work to get to the point. I don't even know if those are stories that God even want me to have to go into specific detail about. But I do know that whenever God needs those stories from me, they're available, as well as from my mom. And mommy will come on here. We're going to talk about it, because I can honestly tell you, when I started Heart Talk back in 2015, 2014, me and my mom weren't getting along like that. But I still had to do Heart Talk. I was operating in a space of mistaken identity, but I knew I had to do what God was telling me to do back in 2014. Now, here we are, 2023. And what can I tell you? My mom is one of my best friends right now. In 2014, I wouldn't confide in her with none of my secrets. In 2023, because I've been working these steps, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I'm not telling y'all to sign up or get this book or sign up for the master's class because I want your money. No, I know that it's time for you to make an investment in something that's going to actually bring you a return. Yeah, you fresh to death. You look nice every time you step out. But what are those shoes doing for you at night when you go to sleep? Huh? You got your new phone. You taking some wonderful pictures. But what is that doing for your heart and your soul? Is that making you think better of yourself? Yeah, you put that pretty picture. You took your 4 hours and you took your 40 pictures until you could get your right picture that you felt confident enough to put on your Instagram. But you went through all of that because you feel like you don't trust the person that's on the inside. So you need to curate the image that you're putting out. Identity fraud, identity theft. I don't have a problem with excellence. Let me be clear. But you are out here and you know who you are. You are out here trying to keep up with the Joneses. You out here living your life like everybody else, knowing this thing is eating away at your soul. You're not sleeping good at night. When you use the bathroom, you either constipated or you got diarrhea. Something is going on with your GI tract. Your stomach is hurting. You're probably dealing with some type of acid reflux. You seeing issues popping up on your skin. You went to the doctor. You taking the blood pressure medicine that still can't control your blood pressure, and you eating and you working out. What is going on? You got to get your heart right. You in a case of mistaken identity. You are committing identity theft. You need to give the culture, the world, society, your family, whoever, give them back that mask that you took from them. And it's time for you to get in the mirror and start to look at who you are. And that's why we're doing the Heart Equity Masterclass. Because I know that you probably don't think you need therapy, but you do. And you don't think you need life coaching. You do. You need to bring people in to help you navigate this situation you got going on and you've been going on. And the truth of the matter is, you came into this because a lot of us, your parents didn't handle their business before you came. So now you cleaning up your mess and the mess that you're continuing to make. You frustrated with your mama and your daddy because of how they treat you, what they did or did not do for you. And I get it. You know your mama did the best she could, especially when your daddy fell short, or you know your daddy did the best he could, especially when your mother falls short. But that does not negate the fact that you got frustrations with him too. You got frustrations with her too. It gets me, like, especially a lot of times we have a parent that we are more endearing to than the other. It's not always mothers or fathers. But the truth of the matter is, even that person that was there for you, you got some resentment towards that person. And can I tell you something? Your lack of honesty, your lack of authenticity and vulnerability. That's why you can't get to the dollar amount you're trying to get. You're wondering why you're not getting that promotion at work. Identity theft. You're presenting the representative. That's who they're dealing with. Until you start presenting your real self, you're going to keep getting fake responses. People are going to keep responding to you in a very artificial way. What do I mean by that? You're not going to get what you want. You get what you believe you should have. Desire is not belief. Yeah, you desire to live a new life. You desire to do something different. You desire to have more money. But the truth of the matter is you don't believe in yourself enough to take the steps to do it. And that's what the Masters class is about. This Heart Equity Masters class is about exposing you to yourself. It's some blind spots. Like right now, I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you. You can see behind me. That's a blind spot for me, but it's not for you. When you come to the Heart Equity Masters class, I'm going to show you some blind spots that are causing you to not advance the way you want to advance. This is why you don't feel clear. This is why you feel frustrated and confused and heavy and angry and insecure. It's nothing wrong with you, but there is something wrong with the way you view yourself, i.e., your identity. How you've been defining yourself is how you've been shaping your life. It's time for you to go by a new blueprint. Like the Bible talks about, you going to build your house on sand or you going to build your house on a firm foundation. The firm foundation, that's what I'm talking about. Heart equity, personal wealth that builds to relational wealth, that builds to financial wealth. Wealth is not just money. Wealth is so much more than money. Money is a vehicle for wealth, but it's not the only thing. And you need to learn more about that. Because if you learn more about wealth, you would not be valuing yourself at such a low amount, because that's what the world around you is telling you to do. It is time for you to set a new standard for yourself. It is time for you to move away from the pack. I remember growing up, my mom said it. I've heard other parents say it. They'll say, well, people will say, well, all my friends are doing it. And what our parents say? They would say things like, well, if all your friends jumped off the bridge, would you jump off a bridge? I don't care. I'm not all of their mama. I'm your mama. But the truth of the matter is, when you begin to authentically live and authentically transform your life, I'm talking about a butterfly was being authentic when it was a caterpillar. But being in that caterpillar state can only get it but so far. And that butterfly, that caterpillar has to surrender to the rest of the process. You got to trust the process. I have a training about the 5 P's of the process, and I'm going to have to teach y'all that, because it's a process to doing this work. You've been crawling around on the ground long enough. Life is calling you into the chrysalis. It is time for you to turn into the butterfly. But you have to commit to this transformational process. You're going to have to be okay with the fact that you can't crawl around on the ground no more. You're not equipped for that. Down there, you will get stepped on. No, you didn't forget where you came from. No, you're not too big for the little people. But you do realize that that season of your life is over. It is time for you to fly. You've been crawling around long enough. Let me put it this way. You've been cackling with the chickens in the chicken coop for long enough. You have realized that you're an eagle. It's time to soar. And that's what the Heart Equity Masters class is going to do for you. You have to build the mental, emotional, and spiritual stamina that is needed, necessary, and required for the days to come. If y'all thought we went through something in COVID, you didn't see nothing yet. We got to get in place. You have dreams, you have desires, and you're being selfish. You act like this is about you. God put you on this earth thing. And you letting all these other situations in your life keep you distracted from the one thing you're supposed to be doing. And this masterclass is going to get you to focus on the main thing and keep the main thing the main thing. It's some people you got to cut out of your life. It's some situations you're going to have to let go of. And you're equipped. I just want to show you how to use the tools you already have. I just want to help develop some skills that you've already been working on. You just need a little support in that area. Like I've been playing pickleball. I've been talking to y'all about pickleball. My brother is a pickleball master and my pickleball partner. And I took some time off of pickleball. And if you saw the previous pod, my brother called me out. If you haven't, go check it out. In that pod, we were talking about me and him being partners and all of that. And I took that to heart even more. My brother told me that before. But when he told me that, it hit me differently this time because I realized that I allowed identity theft to cause me to fall off in pickleball. I could have been a pickleball master right now. I really enjoy playing pickleball. And not just because of my brother, but I'm thankful that he exposed me to a sport that I can literally play for the rest of my life. Like Friday when I was playing, my partner was 80 years old and she beat my behind. She's really good. Shout out to Miss Carolyn. But my point for saying that is I realized that it's not just about me playing pickleball. This all is connected to the next part of where I'm going in my life. And my brother had to challenge me so that I can, my brother had to challenge me so that I could be all of who God is calling me to be. And a part of that is going to come through the vein of me playing pickleball. It also comes from me implementing this master's class. This master's class will be something that we host monthly because I want you to have a resource. I want you to have some place to go. This master's class is like the launching of Heart Equity University, right? The master's class is leading to the university. You're going to take this master's class, and if you decide you want to go to the next level and building heart equity and be an actual heart equity builder, then you will enter Heart Equity University. And we'll talk about that later. But this master's class is fixated because you need to have some place to go. Like I go see my therapist. I know people go see their therapist or whatever to keep their mental health under control. Some people go multiple times a week. Some people go a couple times a year. But you need to be doing something. What are you doing to keep your mind right? What are you doing to check your emotions? What do you do with that fear, that anxiety, that worry? What are you doing with that? If you don't have an answer, if you tell me, oh, I just work, or I just try to stay busy, or I help myself by helping others, all of those are signs that identity theft and fraud is being committed in your life right now. Because one thing about being a human, you're going to feel, you're going to have emotions. Jesus expressed his wide range of emotions because he wanted to show us like this is all about your humanity. I gleaned so much from the principles from the Bible because they changed my life and they're so tried and true. And when everything in my life was being shaken, all the things I believed, all the things that I stood on, all the people that I thought validated me and made me important, when all of those things were shaken, those same biblical principles that I learned still stand. They're still there. And I want that for you. Like I get that this ain't popular for a lot of people, talking about how you feel and expressing that has everything to do with you reaching your business goals and your bottom line. That has everything to do with you improving your real estate portfolio or finding the love of your life or maintaining the relationship that you're in so that y'all can experience the love and joy that you've been dreaming of. It has everything to do with you doing your hard work. My 6-step process, I say mine, but it is mine because it's the process that God took me through. What's your process? This is the process he gave to me for us to do this heart work. And when you do this heart work, you build heart equity. The goal is authentic living, because when you're living authentically, you're living in a manifestation of why you were created. Like when I grew up, they had these big floor model TVs, right? I mean, big, huge TVs that, would sit on the floor, like literally a fixated piece of furniture. And I remember being a little kid and people having those TVs. And I remember as I got older, a lot of people still had those TVs in their houses. Let's say when I'm like preteen, 10, 11, but they had the new TVs sitting on top, right? Because the old TV blew out, but you're talking about this big piece of wood with a TV in it. So it's almost like a table, like a wall table or like a TV stand. Really, I think that's a lot of where the progression of TV stands came from, probably. But the new TV sitting on top of the old TV, because it took so much to get the old TV out of the house. I used to wonder, well, why don't we just put the new TV someplace else? Why leave that here? Because the old TV was so big and cumbersome, and everybody had just gotten used to it being in the house. So instead of getting rid of it and making room for new, they just set the new one on the top. And I feel like that's what a lot of you are doing. Like your parents live life through the way that they viewed their TV, their screen. That Leave It to Beaver, Good Times, even the Cosby Show. They were looking at these things on floor model TVs. Then or your grandparents. Then your parents come along with their new TVs on the top. Big, bulky TVs still, but not as big as the floor model. But now we have these flat screens that could go up on a wall. You could never put those old TVs on a wall. It will pull all the sheetrock down. But the problem is, many of you, because you want to honor your mother or because you want to honor your grandmother or grandfather, you still holding on to these old TVs. Now you can't bring nothing new in your house because you stacking up all this old stuff because it used to be good. I'm going to lay in this plane. Let me tell you where I'm going with that. Yeah, your family might have did things a certain way. Yeah, your grandmama might have handled people a certain way. There might have been a certain culture in your family of the way that y'all did things. But now you're looking at life through a different lens. And yes, you're still looking at a screen, but the screen you're looking at is much different. It's in a different orientation. You can do different things with it. There was no such thing as touch screens and things back in the day when you had those floor model TVs. You had to turn the TV knob, and a lot of time that broke, so you had to have a pliers there to be able to turn the TV. And I know I'm dating myself. A lot of y'all probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but you can Google it. You can go on YouTube and find it out. But the truth of the matter is, you're still living outdated like these old TVs. Your principles, your ways of doing things, those things are outdated, just like these old TVs I'm talking about. And the Heart Equity Masterclass is going to help you readjust your vision, just like this camera does, to keep up with me moving. This is what you have to do in your life right now. Your future is dependent on it. Your children or future children need you to make this investment in yourself. You need to get this type of guidance and coaching. So that's what I was talking about. So a lot of people will say, well, what are you, a therapist? Are you a life coach? No, I'm not a therapist. But I partner with and work with therapists. I go to therapy. I have a therapist. And I have friends who are therapists. And in this program, you will get access to those professionals in my network, because I am very committed about bringing the people on who have helped me live my life better. I am very committed to bringing that to our community of heart equity builders, right? Our heart tribe needs this, right? So this is something that our tribe will get to experience, right? what I want to make you understand is that as a heart coach, I help individuals to strategize life and business in an authentic way so that they can build personal, relational, and financial wealth on a consistent basis. So I like to compare it to a coach and a trainer in sports. So I used to play basketball. My kids play sports, family and friends. So I understand. My nephew is a dynamic basketball trainer. My brother is a pickleball trainer and coach. So I get the whole idea. So when you think about therapy, you think about the specialist, you think about getting acute help and support on what's going on in your life right now. So the therapist will help you make sense of what's going on in your mind and how that's affecting your emotions and how you're showing up in life. But they're dealing with it from a very therapeutic standpoint. They'll give you a diagnosis if there is one to give you. They will talk with you about what are some things that you can do to deal with your mental health and maintain that, as you should. Just like if you are playing on a team, right? So that's the therapist. The therapist is like, I compare a therapist to like a trainer. So I've used my daughter when she played basketball. She had great coaches on her team. They would practice every day and they would work on different drills and skills. However, when she wanted to be better at dribbling or just be better at being a player overall, she did training outside of what the coach was doing because she wanted to specialize and be very specific about the things she wanted to improve in her life so that when she went back to her coach, the coach had a stronger skill set to work with. That is what heart coaching is. So I work in partnership with therapists and counselors and other financial advisors, other business consultants to help the individual get to the best outcome that they're looking for. So, as a coach, we're going to work with what you have to help you reach the goals that you are trying to reach because I know you can reach them. But the other thing that I'm going to do as a coach is I'm going to challenge these goals. Why do you even have these goals? Why are you even trying to pursue this? Where is this coming from? Because one thing I realized is when I start working with individuals and we start going through the heart incubator, a lot of times what they start off trying to do and the goals they're focused on is not the same as they start going through the process. Because when you start to when you quit committing identity theft, then you can start being more real about what you really want to do, how you really want to show up, where you really want to go in your life. So this is what I want you to think about. Are you ready for a heart coach? Have you done any work? Have you done any therapy? Have you had any coaching? Any work on yourself outside of going to the gym? Physical work is fine. But a lot of times we do the physical work because we're so superficial. And I know if you're the type of person that only cares about image, if you're the type of person that cannot um, disconnect yourself from what people think about you, this isn't the program for you. Now, if you want to do it and you're struggling, we can help you. But if you are more committed to bossing up on people, stunting on people, making people believe that you got it all together and you don't, this is not the program for you. I don't want you to register. I don't want your money. I don't want you participating. This is not the tribe for you. I love you. I care about you. I want you to live your best life consistently. But I don't have time for it. I don't have time for the fakeness. I don't have time for people who acting like ain't nothing wrong with them when you know it is. We all have things that hurt us. I do hard work daily. I'm constantly journaling about what triggered me, what bothered me, what upset me, what's coming up for me right now. I encourage my clients to do it. I have watched people transform their lives just by telling the truth. And that's why we're doing the Heart Equity Masters class, because I want to help you do that. I want to support you in building heart equity, constantly creating heart equity, and generating heart equity so well that you leave a lasting legacy for those to come. Whoever those are, whatever your dreams are, whatever you focusing on, you can do it. It is yours. But are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? So this is what I want you to do. Registration for the Heart Equity Masterclass will be in the description. The class is September the 29th. There's a general admission option for $97, and that's completely virtual. And then we have the VIP experience, which is $297, and it is virtual or live. If you're in or around Charleston, South Carolina, you can come into the classroom, enter the university, and experience the masterclass. If you're not, you could still get the VIP experience virtually. But I encourage you to participate in this class. You do not want to miss out. You want to join this movement. It is time for you to build your heart equity. You've been being fake long enough. This identity theft, you got to get a handle on it. It is time for you to transform your life. Let me tell y'all something. When I committed to doing my work, it transformed my whole family. When I started doing my work, me and my mom couldn't be in the same room for 10 or 15 minutes without an argument. I mean, it was uncomfortable. People didn't like being around us. I mean, they loved me and they loved her, but they didn't like when we were in the room together. It was all a constant bumping of heads and frustration all the time. Why? Because we were not doing our work. But I started doing my work. My mother was doing her work. And as I did my work, I forced her to do it. I started setting boundaries, things I'm going to teach you about. I started telling myself the truth. And I started being willing to be more uncomfortable than I was willing to be liked and to be understood. And that's a big one. We're going to address that in the master's class. See, you're going to sign up for these people who can tell you how to make six figures in 6 months, and they're going to tell you all these flashy things to deal with your external. But if you don't have a secure foundation in your heart, if the insides of you are not fortified to deal with what you're working on, building on the outside, the walls are going to come tumbling down every time. We see it happening all the time. People just at the top and just crash. Why? Because they put so much focus on what people can see, and they're not doing their work. They're not committing to the therapy. They're not committing to the heart and life coaching. They're not committed to the masterminding and putting themselves in positions and around people who are going to challenge them to be their best selves. No, they're around people who are going to let them keep being like that until they go to destruction. And I'm not willing to do that. So let's be very diligent in getting ourselves together. You do not have to sign up for this masterclass, but sign up to fortify your heart. This is what's going to set you apart. Look, what is it? Harvard stopped needing SAT scores for people to get in school. Ivy League schools no longer want SAT scores. What are we learning? Because we got to stop jumping through these hoops trying to get these numbers and these letters behind our names when at the end of the day, these people know that is not what it's going to take to bring the success and the transformation and the change we need for the future that's upon us. You're going to have to get your heart right. And I'm the heart coach. God put me here to support you, to challenge you, and to guide you to your authentic living. Let's do it. Let's do it. Because you've tried it the other way long enough, and it's not working for you. Now let's try it the way God ordained it for you. And let's see what happens. Your way, you've been doing it. Is it working for you? Let's try it the way of your creator. Let's do it along the lines and the terms of why you were put here versus what somebody thought would be good for you in their finite mind. It's time for you to love yourself enough to delay your gratification. Be a little uncomfortable for a little while because the truth hurts. But guess what else the truth does? It sets you free. So registration is open. Make sure you sign up. Now the VIP experience, the seating is limited. It's very limited. So if you want to get into this live experience, get into this. Okay, I promise this thing, those that are in attendance are going to be blown away because we bring in the heat, y'all. We're living in, look at what's going on. Look at our world. All of these things are going on. What are we doing? What are we doing to combat the fear, the imminent dangers that are coming upon us? We got to do our work. We got to do our work. So I thank you all for supporting. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Heart Coach Talk. Share this podcast. Let other people know about it. Subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, y'all. And I know y'all can help me do it. And I want to get there before the end of the year. Let's do it. But in the meantime, remember, if you master your heart, you will master your life. Until next time, this is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, signing out. The Heartline Podcast. Love y'all.